Barrister Billy, and thanks for joining us for this episode of Barrister Eats. Today I'm going to show you how to make our delicious donut balls. We have one with a chocolate ganache, one with just sugar, and the other with cinnamon sugar. Stay tuned, we'll show you how to make this in just a second. Let me grab my apron and gather some ingredients, and then we'll get cooking. Alright, here are our ingredients for our donut balls. We have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1½ tablespoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1 cup of whole milk, 4 tablespoons or a 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1 egg, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. If you like a little bit more vanilla flavoring, you can go up to a teaspoon of that. And we also have our oil heating up here in our trusted Fry Daddy. That's about 20 years old, maybe a little bit older than that. Getting close to needing to replace that sucker. You could also use a Dutch oven or some sort of heavy walled deep pot or pan to heat up your oil in to 350 degrees. And looky there, ours just clicked off, so let's get to mixing up stuff. All right, let's start mixing our ingredients together. So we're going to take all of our dry ingredients and dump them together. That's our flour, nutmeg, baking powder, sugar, and salt. And we'll give that a quick whisk around. And then in this much smaller bowl, which I dumped some of that salt in, we are going to combine our wet ingredients. So we have our milk, our melted and cooled butter, our egg, and our vanilla extract. And I'm just going to use the same whisk and kind of break this up, mix it together just a little bit. Alright, once your wet ingredients are mixed up, we'll pour them into our dry ingredients and whisk those together to incorporate them well. And this will make a nice little batter for us. There we go, making a mess. That's alright, we can clean up. This batter will be a little bit thick, but that's okay. So that's about what we're looking for. We got it all incorporated. So I'm going to let this sit for just a couple of minutes while I work on some other things. All right, I let our dough rest for a couple of minutes while I threw together a couple of things. Here in some boats, you can use any kind of shallow dish or bowl for that. This one just has about maybe a 1/2 cup of plain white granulated sugar. Here I made a cinnamon sugar. I really didn't measure this. It's probably about 1/2 cup of sugar with a teaspoon or so of cinnamon mixed up together. And then I made a chocolate ganache. This one I did kind of measure out. 1/4 cup of heated heavy cream, and you pour that over 1/2 cup. Here I used chocolate chips, semi-sweet chocolate chips. Mix it until it's melted, and you're good to go. We'll need those here in a second to roll our donut balls in or to sprinkle over. So let's get to cooking. All right, my oil is heated up to 350 degrees. I am going to use the basket here. You don't have to, particularly if you're using like a Dutch oven, you're not going to have a basket with that. Makes it a little bit easier, but you can use a metal spider or even some tongs to get your balls out. I'm using a scoop. This does not have a number on it, so I don't know what size it is. But what I do when I do this is I stick it in the hot oil first to kind of heat it up. We're going to take a scoop, put it in there. In this one I can probably fit maybe 5 or 6 in without overcrowding it. You don't want to overcrowd it because they'll get together. Also, it will lower your temperature of your heat too much. And you're going to fry these for 2.5 minutes per side. So we'll let those cook up and we'll check back in just a minute. Alright, so you can see this first batch is a nice golden brown, almost done with those. We'll have to Sometimes you'll have to roll them over to the other side to help that brown up. If you're wondering why I call these donut balls instead of donut holes, they're a little bit bigger, sometimes a lot bigger than your typical donut holes. So those are good. So I'll take those out and let them drain for just a second. And then once some of that oil has drained off of the donut balls, we can start to just roll them. Here is this in our sugar. So that ends up, you want to do it while it's hot because it looks like it's almost looks like powdered sugar, but it's not. Let's go ahead and toss one in our cinnamon sugar mixture. Now I'm just putting these on a baking rack to cool. I lined my baking pan, my cookie sheet with foil to help for the cleanup later. Let's just dip one side in the chocolate here. Got a little bit of chocolate one going on there. And that is basically it. Barrister Eats donut balls. We hope you enjoy. Give it a try. Let us know how it turns out for you. Hope you enjoy eating them as much as me and my family do. So it's good stuff. And hot. Somebody want to try some donut balls?
So all at once? Or should I show some decorum?
Whatever.
Okay. They're so pretty. They're like perfectly brown. Or golden. That's super good.
Oh, could you say that again now that I'm rolling tape?
That's super good.
So would you say it's good stuff?
I'd say I'm living the dream, and it's all good stuff.